You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about jiu-jitsu. I am your host, Lamar Smith. And today's guest is a blue belt who trains at H2O Martial Arts, located in Oak Park, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Martin.
Yo, what's going on?
What's going on, my brother?
Hey, it's good to be here, bro. Thanks for the podcast, dog.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I had to get you on here, man.
Cool.
All right, let's just get it started. Man. What's tell us about your journey, man. How did you get into it and everything else?
So, oh man, this is the journey. Just even before it started was a period of contemplation. I had known about. I've been following combat sports through most of my adolescence. Just a regular teenage boy. Extremely fascinated with violence. So like heavy into the UFC, wanted to, ask my mom to box. I was one of those kids, but it didn't really get until, college, adulthood when you're at the most control.
Mm-hmm.
You have at least more control you did when you were an adolescent. And I met a young man named Zachary Holston.
Yeah.
Who happens to be the son of the trainer, our head instructor at H2O, Zachary Holston III.
Yes, sir.
And him and I just being close. We pledged the same frat. I actually was fortunate enough to bring him through. So him and I had already had a pretty strong relationship, and we had been talking about jiu-jitsu and how his journey in jiu-jitsu, what it had done for him, and how he got into it. And it always. And I think I use this euphemism even still during my journey. I'm just like at the base of a mountain looking up. Like this is just this learning, this journey, being a part of this is just the next great task. And the task is to show up and listen and be absorbent and just, oh man, for me, it's just been being enamored. Like every time I see something new on the mat, I'm losing it. I am absolutely losing it. Oh man, but I'm trailing off. So getting back, that's how I started. Started with Zach. He introduced me to jiu-jitsu formally. Actually gave me one of my first gis.
Yeah.
So it was real ceremonious. You know what I'm saying? It was real like, oh, this is meant to be. This is meant to happen.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
And I think I felt that way like through it. And I can't imagine not doing jiu-jitsu at this point.
So you hooked, huh?
I think I'm a lifer, bro. I think I'm a lifer, man. Like I don't have a bad thing to say about jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Ever at all. And it has impacted not just me physically, but it has translated what I've learned, how I've learned has translated into, other parts of my life. Patience, being calm under pressure.
Yeah.
The big one, being calm under pressure. Getting comfortable in uncomfortable situations, like almost just getting intimate with the struggle. Like, and it, not to say that struggle is just all bad, but sometimes you hit those modes in life that just require a little bit more of you than the previous day.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that just goes up, and the stronger you get and the more present you are, so does your ability to handle those situations. And that's interchangeable. The more I show up at jiu-jitsu, the more I'm able to handle jiu-jitsu, the more I'm able to digest and learn jiu-jitsu.
So when was the moment that you like fell in love with jiu-jitsu? Was it like, you said you studied it before, like looked it up and everything else, but did it kind of like really kick it in when you actually started training or what?
Yeah. That like the hook was it was a slow burn. Like it was showing up, and you know when you when you start, when you initially start to, and then you go home after maybe your first week and you're just like, I can't wait to go back. I can't wait to go back. I'm scouring YouTube. I'm looking at I'm trying to find fights, tournaments, looking at techniques, and just like going, wow, I cannot imagine not doing this. And I think that moment for me was maybe after my first month. Maybe my first month, gradually through each class I showed up to. It was just, I was like, no, I have to learn more. I have to learn more because I'm seeing all these cool things that you guys are doing as upper belts, and it looks flashy, but then you break down the dichotomy. Mm-hmm. Then you get into real fundamental. You get into concepts and not just techniques. And of course, like I'm talking at this stage, but seeing it then and just hearing about it then, and yeah, I guess that might sum it up.
I mean, it's a good feeling, man. Like, it's like when you find something, like you find something like you like, okay, I think I might have a passion for this. Oh, this is kind of cool. But then, you're a month in, 2 months in, 4 months in, you're getting stripes, you're getting a belt. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm in this for life.
Yeah.
I am this like for life. But yeah, I'd probably say around that same time, like 2 stripes in as a white belt, I was like, yeah, I can kind of see myself doing this for a very, very, very long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I can't imagine the day without this. Like even that first year, even up until my blue belt, that preparation for my blue belt, like how of course, like I've studied, I've taken courses at school, and I've had to do things for work that required attention. But that level of presence that test took as my first maybe I'm just that feeling, that feeling, that culmination of just that feeling of being hooked for that long, an entire year, being just like, oh, I every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday I'm going to be here. Definitely. I am going to be here. Like it's not a choice at that point. That's how much that's how much jiu-jitsu has gotten to me at this point.
Yeah, man. And it's funny because obviously the listeners know I also train at H2O, and from the first day you walked in, Zach introduced you and everything else, and just like at that first couple weeks, man, it's like how you just start to gravitate to us. I'm looking over you, taking your notes and everything else, and I'm like, okay, he obviously he's a very, very smart guy just from the conversations we had, but just like the amount of like focus and just like attention to detail that you like, hey man, can you show this again and blah blah blah. And as an upper belt, it's like, oh man, like yes, like yes, like we love that. And what's so funny is like I don't know, I think we told you about this before, but the guy that we had on our show previous, Brian, when Ray came, when Ray got to the gym, it was like, okay, he's a small guy, he got short limbs, and me and Brian kind of almost have the same body length. He's a little bit like shorter than me, but we're like, no, that's mine. Like we're adopting Ray. Like we're adopting Ray, and we would fight over this guy so much, and no, not because of his stature. It's just because like how much of a sponge he was. Well, he is. He still is. I'm not saying like he stopped or anything, but how much of a sponge you are, and as an upper belt and as a teacher, you love those type of people that walk in your door because it forces you to become better as well. And It's like, okay, we got this guy here. He's a white belt, and he's, we don't have to like go into too much detail over and over and over again because he's picking it up. He's learning fast, and it's like, okay, we see that potential. Let's just shove every piece of jiu-jitsu information down his throat as we can. And he eats it up. It's like, give me more. And we like, yes! like, yes, let's go. Love it, man. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, that's the want. Like, oh man, I really can't even put into words but just it's different. I think it's always different because this isn't punch somebody as hard as you can.
Right.
You know, like sure I lift weights. I'm pretty strong for my size. I can handle myself.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't yeah, I'm gonna punch you, I'm gonna kick you. No, like this is a very technical art.
Yeah.
And because, at least to me personally, it is pulled from so much of me. It's pulled from my mental to my spiritual.
Yeah.
You know, to having that moment, you know, in the open mat where I hit a, like, you know, like breakthroughs when you have your breakthrough, but it is so involved, and because it takes that much of me, and because it's like you can only lift so many weights before you're just not as efficient.
Not as efficient,
no,
right?
Like, this is like straight mental. This is mental. This is timing, technique. The idea of having people in this art that can be years older than you, pounds lighter than you, and nowhere near your level of strength or dexterity or anything. There's always an avenue. There's always a play style to be adopted. That just, it doesn't necessarily have to be better than the other, but we got Big Zach, who is an old large gentleman, but just technically sound and can just beat you on his back because that's how much he trusts his technique. And of course he's, black belt, but like he doesn't have to be nobody has to be super strong, super fast. And because of that, it's just like, no, I have to learn as much of this as I can because there's so much to learn. Yeah. You can learn 1,000 different ways, but this is,
Like, if you can't necessarily break it down and make it work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, like you said, like, you don't have to be the fastest guy. You don't have to be the strongest guy. You don't have to be, this prodigy off the street. Like, you can, if you sit down and can learn this stuff, and it'll blow your mind. Because, I told you this story before, but we had a gentleman who used to train with us named Andrew. I got to get him on the show too, even though he doesn't train anymore. But when the school was fresher, he was the smallest guy there, and he had to learn how to, move on the ground like a little bit more. I guess you want to say be a little bit more advanced than a lot of the bigger guys because he, like, once he gets under you, he's pretty much stuck. And that's been his main focus as long as I can remember. And when I tell you, like, his guard retention was beyond anything I've ever seen before. Because he had to utilize his size to fend off, like, our bigger, stronger guys, but he was able to do it easily. Right. So easily and so gracefully. And it's just like, dude, I keep saying this, like, man, I wish he was still training when you showed up, because that would have been that person. We'd be like, yeah, you focus what you can under him because y'all share a lot of similarities to each other in y'all jiu-jitsu.
Word. Man. Yeah, I've definitely heard of. I think I've actually met Andrew at one time.
Yeah, like he's one of those people who was like, man, I just wish your heart was still in it, man. Because it'd have been nice to see, like, him, progress as well. But yeah, so, like, how long did it take you to, like, really start applying jiu-jitsu to, like, your everyday life?
I think when I realized I was bad at it. I think when I realized that I was not good at jiu-jitsu, when I was like, oh. When when those days where I was just like, oh, I'm really ass. Like, I'm really not all. When you reach that, oh boy, I've been waiting to bust this quote out. I just finished the book, Be Water, My Friend, by Shannon Lee, Bruce Lee's daughter. The usefulness of a cup is in its emptiness. You gotta empty that cup. And I guess for me, emptying that cup was like, oh, I really don't know anything. I don't know anything. So I had to go back and I had to look at technique. I had to apply it under pressure. That was really it. And it doesn't always have to be about the roles,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the roles are a good metric for how much you are able to understand and apply the technique in a serious scenario, because this isn't just a combat sport. Jiu-jitsu is self-defense. Like
Yeah.
this is stuff that we are using in the street, you know?
Like this is
So,
definitely. It's definitely a tool. It's definitely a tool.
Exactly. And I think at that revelation, when I started kind of taking it from I stopped allowing the jiu-jitsu to exist in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I just started taking it with me everywhere I went. I started kind of trying to be a martial artist with everything I did and attacking stuff with a certain level of calm and ferocity, understanding, okay, I really want to get this done. I want this. I want this. I want the arm. I want the arm. Give me the arm. Give me the arm. Wait, hold up. I want to complete the task.
Mm-hmm.
There are steps. There are steps to this task, or there are actionable things that I can do in the pursuit of completing this task.
Right.
And breaking it down into that, and just, yeah. I don't even know if that was a good example, but I stopped allowing the jiu-jitsu to just strictly be in the gym, and I kind of looked at all things through the jiu-jitsu lens.
Oh yeah, I mean, no, that was explained perfectly, because I've said this in a previous episode where it's like, jiu-jitsu it's a mental game. It's a chess game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to keep yourself calm under pressure. You have to be able to think under pressure. You have to be able to think yourself out of bad situations. And you can't let outside stuff affect you, because once your mind take a split second and derails from jiu-jitsu, you're being submitted.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like an instant, because you will have those days where you go to the gym, it's like a good day, go to the gym, you're rolling, and it's like, man, I'm rolling for I done roll 3-4 minute rounds and I'm feeling great.
Mm-hmm.
And you just take that one little day where you just take your focus off that quick second, and it's like, man, I am just getting ran through.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? What happened to all my powers? Because you took your mind off of it. But yeah, you after so long of training, and you just you're running through your principles and your rules and techniques, and you have to pay attention to detail and stuff like that. Yeah, you literally start to form it into your everyday life.
Yep.
Like every situation to me now is a role.
Oh, that's a good one.
Every situation, even down to okay, what's the plan for the week?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I know I have to do this, and this. That role is going into okay, I figure it out. Once I figure it out, Let me go ahead and finish and get this submission, and I have figured out my week. Same thing when it comes to jiu-jitsu in class. If I'm depending on who I'm rolling with, it's okay, this person's going to be this way, this person's going to be that way. Let's see if we can get this person to make a mistake, give me their back, catch them off balance or catch them off guard and go for that kill.
Right.
You won't be able to do that if you're like, man, dang, did I do the dishes when I left? Oh, she gonna be mad I didn't do them dishes. Or you let the world bother you on those mats. It's like, dude, it's shitty. it's such shitty trying to focus on work, life and jiu-jitsu at the same time. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So impossible.
And it's it's not even to say that you won't have those moments or lapses. Lapses of focus that's a given. That's a given.
Real.
You're gonna have days where you are not performing your best on the mats and out. You're gonna have days where you didn't get everything that you wanted done.
Mm-hmm.
But how are you gonna respond to that? Are you gonna show up? You gonna show up to the next class? Are you gonna show up for the next day? You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna show up for your next obligation? And again, it's not gonna be perfect, but when you just consciously make the decision to show up in different facets of your life, that's it. That's jiu-jitsu. That's how it immediately applies. And then you get back on the mats and you set the clock. You set the clock and you go hard.
And go hard, yeah.
You do.
And
So
and that's like one of the reasons why I love jujitsu, because it's like if I'm, if whatever it is that's bothering me throughout the day, throughout the week or whatever, I can literally have the ability to leave it all on the mats.
yep.
Like I'm able to work and sweat and grind all this frustration out and go home happy. It's just such a therapeutic thing, because there may be days where I'll miss a class and I'm like, man, it's only 7:30. I can make it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was like, it's like almost 8 o'clock. Like if I show up right now, somebody gonna roll with me. Like I just know it. But yeah, I can't go long without doing jujitsu, man.
Yeah, I'm and it's getting to that point. I think this is closing on my first full year as not being a white belt. I guess in appearance, but
Mm-hmm.
I think always having that white belt mentality of just wanting to learn and wanting to show up. Like that's still, but I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
It's so hard. It's so hard to try to force that in there. Like, okay, let's see if I can imagine a week without jujitsu.
Mm.
Nah, it's impossible.
Because, and you know what it is, the Tuesday and Thursdays, and it works. It works. Everybody has a different schedule, but you miss a day. You miss a day. It's a week.
Yeah.
It's a week.
Yeah.
And you miss 2. That's a month. Because everybody's working, everybody's showing up. Whoever is showing up, they're going hard, they're learning. Just how we structure our gym, that's just like it's a temple. It is a real, and there's nothing but learning going on. So when you missing out on that, oh man, it hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts.
It hurts. It hurts bad, man. Because you just know this is like, I know this is the class. This is the one class I should not have missed.
Yes.
It's always that way. It's always that way. Like, me and Zach work together. So if I miss a class, he's like, hey, man, you missed a good one. We went over XYZ, and I'm like, like, something told me to show up. Something told me to show up. But, yeah, man, I beat myself up about it, man. But I think that's a good thing, though, man, because you're surrounded by so many people that's so eager to learn. Like, that pushes you to, like, okay, I know I have to get better, because I don't want to feel left behind. So I can't miss a day, because I know XYZ is not gonna miss a day, and he just need maybe 1 or 2 days, and then I'm gonna have to struggle. Like, nah, I can't have that.
Nah, you're only as good as the time you put in.
Yeah, definitely.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Nah, I forgot what I was gonna say. I think I was just about to harp on just showing up and being there. I was about to be one of them people, but yeah, you can go ahead, bro.
But like, going back to, like, taking a break and stuff, like when I was getting ready for my brown belt, like I was like mentally starting to turn stuff on. And I'm like, okay, I don't want my purple belt test to go anything like my I don't want my brown belt test to be anything like my purple belt test. I want to just skate by it. So but it was like I was putting so much time and work in, way more than I even realized I was doing. Because I was like, I was finding myself studying more. I was rolling a lot more. I was, trying to find, more ways to do jiu-jitsu, or just work out, or just be around jiu-jitsu as much as possible, to the point where I blinked, I'm testing, and the test was done. I still felt like, oh, there's more jiu-jitsu I want to do today.
Yeah.
Cause like I literally didn't want to leave. Like that day, I was like, all right, we got like a half hour. Let's get some work in. Let's get class started. Like set the clock,
Something.
Cause like I already had told myself, I was like, you know what? After my brown belt test, I'm gonna take about 2 weeks off, get myself mentally together, whatever I need to do, but I'm just gonna take some time off. And I got home, I'm like, damn, I want to go back to the gym.
Yeah, because what day of the week was your brown belt test?
I believe it was on a Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was the 4th of October. So it was that Tuesday.
Listen, if you didn't come back that Thursday or the following, I know you were back by the following Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
know
no doubt, no doubt.
So shit, yeah.
I've tried this. I've tried it so many times. Like a few times at purple and blue. It was like, man, I just need a week off. I'll be okay without missing. I'll be okay without coming to 2 classes. Tuesday come around, I'm getting I'm off work or whatever. I'm looking at that clock. I'm staring. I'm like watching this clock. Like if I get up and go now, I can make it to class. But my body is like, nah, fam, you need to sit down and rest. I'm like, yeah, I can rest on the drive there and the drive back. My body needs to be on the mats. Like it has to be on the mats. Like,
yeah, even I only really miss days, I guess, when I'm traveling or if I really have some predetermined situations I got going on. But even fresh out of the car for driving for about more than 5 hours. I was like, you know what? I don't got my gi. I don't got nothing. I still just need to be there. Showed up in sweats and a sweater to just listen. By the end of the night, got a no-gi roll in, and some sweatpants and some socks. Like, I was
just about to say that. Like, he still end up. What you did? Like, I think you rode twice. Or was
yeah. Maybe I know I rode with John once, and I rode with somebody else, but was not even supposed to be K-Sanga. It was K-Sanga.
Yep, it was K-Sanga and it was John. Yeah, you can't do that, man. You can't go into the gym and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit on the side.
It's a lot.
I'm gonna just take a day off. I'm just gonna sit on the side. No, because you'll see something. It's like, oh, I want to try that. Let me get some of that.
Like, I want to try. I want to do this.
Man.
Jim, y'all opening up new toys and whatnot. Yeah, I want to play. What do you mean?
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean, dude? But yeah, dude, it's Jiu-Jitsu is amazing, man. Jiu-Jitsu is so amazing.
Yeah, big blessing. I'm privileged. I'm even more privileged to be in the kind of atmosphere we foster at H2O.
Yeah.
You hear about a bunch of different gyms, but all I can do is confidently speak on my gym, and honestly, it's home, man. It is home, and it feels good. It feels good to be young and just around so much wisdom, like young in the journey, and just be like being brought in around blues about to be purples going into browns, whites going into blue. Like I came in, I feel like I came in right on the cusp. But it was a point where I might have been the only white belt in the building. And that was just, that is a privilege. Man. That is a privilege to just be around y'all and to learn as y'all, to see you guys level up. And to see, it was like, oh, wow, this is, if I needed any more metric as to how good I can be at this, all I have to do is look around me.
Yeah.
So
we don't, because we don't gatekeep. It's like, if you want to learn it, man, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm asking everybody out the class, like, hey, you good? You got a question? Is it something you need to go over? Is it something you've seen you want to break down a little bit more? I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Great wealth of resources. Great. And people, and I think what also people make the time, even coming out on Sundays, we ain't just, of course we get a couple Donnie Brooks in, a couple kerfuffles,
right?
Couple good fights, but there's still opportunity to learn. It's not, and our upper belts aren't just like steamrolling people. Nah, like it's nothing but just sharing knowledge, and you ask a question, somebody got the answer.
Somebody got the answer.
So yeah, I think that's another thing. Man.
Should have came today, man.
Look. See? You might hit me with you missed a good one, bro.
You missed a good one, bro.
You missed
a good one. Nah, but because it was only 3 of us on the mats today, so we were just going. It was just going. 2 in, 1 out. It was just going. Set the clock and we were just rolling the whole good 20 minutes rolling, bro.
Yeah, I think they're both blessings and curses to have not a lot of people show up for the open mat, and then to have a good amount of people. Like, both of those are both curses and blessings, because it's like, what? It's only how many of us in here right now? Let's go. They just going, and you just run it rounds and rounds. But then when you got more bodies, you got different styles. You get to learn from how different people implement the system in their way. Like Nick, rolling with Nick and older Nick, adult Nick.
Yeah, Nick McIntyre. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And young Nick too.
Young Nick
you
too.
know, Nick, if you're hearing this, hey, can't wait to see you, boy. Can't wait to see you, boy. But yeah, like Nick is another great, just technically sound, long limbs, intelligent.
Yeah.
Just that's a balanced breakfast. It's a balanced breakfast. And he's pretty tall. He's pretty tall and lanky. But just rolling with him is a lot different from everybody else. We got a lot of bigger bodies. And even he has to change his game to kind of compromise for not being, one of the heaviest guys in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing how he does that, and then how he responds to somebody who's exponentially smaller than him, maybe a little quicker, maybe a little stronger. Like, oh man, you never approach a role the same way, I guess is what I'm really trying to say.
Yeah, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with how we are. It's like, okay, if me and Ray, me and you roll, if I catch you in something or if I notice something, I'm going to teach you how to fix that.
Yeah.
But in turn, it's like, okay, well now he's gonna look out for that. So now I have to keep pulling stuff out of my toolbox to keep up with how much I'm teaching. But this just goes back to like the iron sharpens iron. Because we want you guys to get better. We want everyone that's coming up under us to get better, and so on and so forth. Because there'd be moments I'll see you over there teaching, and I'd be like, yeah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, this journey has been something, especially with our school, because I've been there for my whole jiu-jitsu journey has been at H2O martial arts, so I've seen. Brian can contest to this too. Even Lil Zach can contest to this too. Like, we've seen people come and go, different different ranks, and then you get those small few people that stick around, and their growth is just like crazy. So like when we had Nick come in, he advanced quick, and then when you came in, you just took it to like a duck to water. And even now we got our white belt Matt, strong guy, strong guy, and the heart that he shows on the mats is like, man, you can't stop. Like, you don't have no choice to stop. Like, you have no choice but to stay in jiu-jitsu. And it's rare to see that sometimes, because people come to school, go to different schools, they get intimidated, they get beat up, they get bruised, and it's like they don't feel like they're getting nothing out of it. But like, no, man, you guys are like, like Zach always said, like, like my brown belts, they're the future. Like, no, yeah, we're present now. Like, no, our blue belts and our white belts that we got coming in are it. Like, they're eager to learn. They're just hungry, and it's like, man, yes, like that's what we like to see. Because that in turn makes us get better, because we have to be able to keep up with you guys.
Yeah. The group of feisty white belts, man. Like, I think it's a good generation for me, because it's like, oh, okay, great. We got all these fresh faces. And not only do I get to teach and learn, now I get to practice.
Yeah.
See how this goes versus the uninitiated. And see what I see, and slow down my game to almost to a crawl, and allow myself to kind of just figure it out. But they are just, they make you figure mid lesson too.
Yeah.
They make that shit out. Matt is like, nah, I know what we repping, but I'm not going.
But what we're about to do is.
But I said I wanted to learn something else.
Yeah. But
I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying like that. It's seeing to your point of always looking at the next generation and saying, nah, like this is for the guys that are staying in it, the guys that are able to learn from the upper belts and be consistent. Absolutely, the future, because we get to learn from you guys.
Yeah.
And we get to learn from you not only what Zach has passed down, and then from Zach to Brian to you to Coleman and how you guys are passing it down. We also get to learn some of the things that may not have come so easily for you guys.
Yeah.
Like we hear all the time when Sensei Zach is saying, "Oh, I had to pay for a private for this. Mm-hmm. I had to get the private," and of course we getting it straight. You know what I'm saying? Straight off
tap. Yeah.
We getting it off the back of the truck. We lucky with it, but we get to learn that and pick that up. Super critical pieces, like details, like underneath the system in a way, and like that's invaluable. That's invaluable.
And the beauty behind that is like that's been the motto of our school since day one. Like we teach you jujitsu. So I've heard that same story a million times about Zach saying, I had to pay for privates for this. I had to pay for privates for that. I had to do this. I had to do that to learn the stuff that I'm teaching you guys. And everything that he was teaching us up to that point, I think I was still a white belt, or was I a blue? No, I was still a white belt at this time, and we met Master Joe Moera, and the same thing that Zach was teaching us, Master Joe was teaching us. That's what made it really, really sweet, because it's like, okay, he isn't hiding anything. Like, yeah, Master Joe would break it down a little bit more detail because he's constantly evolving his game, but it still falls under the same ramifications that we do every single day. Nothing is different. Nothing changes. We still, we still follow our principles. We still follow our rules, and we just go from there. And it's so crazy to you hear from your instructor, then you hear from his instructor, and then you hear from his instructor. Like when we, I don't think you was there when we had Grandmaster Mansour there.
No.
I pray that we get him out here, so you can see like the wealth of knowledge that this man has.
Oh,
it's crazy, because I was explaining this to one of the other guys I was interviewing. He's a Joe Moore black belt. And we were talking about, Master Joe and Grandmaster Mansour, and we were just saying how amazing this guy is at his age. And I tell everybody this story. I love telling this story. Like when the first time I met Grandmaster, it was at a seminar here. He came in, old guy, hunched over, sweats in a varsity sweater. Real quiet, and everything. He goes in the room. He looking around, just take that sightseeing as it looks like. Then he goes into Zach's office to change. Comes out, got his gi on. That beautiful belt comes out. He ties it around his waist, and he becomes a completely different person. Watching someone in their 80s move like this, I'm like, dude, I hope that by the time I get to that age, I can do at least half of what you were doing right now. Because there's no way someone 80 years... It's so unbelievable that someone like that age is moving like this. He's doing sidewinder snakes. He's doing all this crazy movement. And what really set it off was... we was all sitting around. He was going over something from guard, and we was talking about leg locks. And he says, we're going to go over XYZ. And he said, blue belt, come here. So I get up, I run over there. He's in my guard, and he's breaking down what he's teaching. And he hops up to his knees, fall back into a knee bar. A straight a leg lock. And I think it was a heel hook. I think it was either like a leg lock or a heel hook, but one and the same. And when I tell you, I was so amazed at what he did I forgot I was in this hold.
Yeah,
you forget. I completely forgot because I'm like, I'm the Uki. How did I forget what was going on? So I'm like, he pops up, boom, falls back to it, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Wait, why is my knee? Why is my knee burning?
Oof.
And then when I was like, oh, then I tapped. He's like, everybody's like, you okay? I'm like, no, I'm good. But I'm like, I was so caught off and amazed at what happened. Yeah, I completely forgot I was in a submission.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you don't see that a lot. And it's not like Grandmaster travels a lot, so it was definitely an honor and privilege to have him there. And I'm really hoping that we can get him back, and you can see like the amazement that this guy is.
I think that's what I aspired. Like, of course, and that's a prime example of no matter what your what your stats say, no matter how old you are, no matter what kind of it benefits to be in good shape. But this jujitsu shit for everybody, bro.
Yeah, for everybody. And I just seen a video maybe like 2 nights ago. Old guy, he had to be like in his 80s or so, hunched over. He walks with a cane, but he just got his black belt. And I'm just in awe. Like, yeah, I'm younger. I'm way younger than this guy. Lord permits, I would see the day I get my black belt. I'm right there at the cusp of it, but it was still so amazing to see someone of that age get a black belt wrapped around his waist.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, that's what I want. That's what I strive to be. Like, I want to do this well off into my 70s and 80s if permitted, to just do jujitsu. Just all I can do is jujitsu. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Oh man, don't let me make it a living.
Yeah.
Don't let me make it.
But it's so crazy how, like, when you go through this journey with jujitsu, and it's like, okay, this is cool. I like this. All right, I'm enjoying it. And fast forward to now, everything that I do, I'm like, okay, how can I make this jujitsu related?
Right.
And I'm like, and this is how I end up here at this podcast. I was like, I want to talk about jujitsu a lot. So let's figure out how I can talk about jujitsu a lot, and here we are.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
So this creates.
You say what?
Now, I was saying, jujitsu just creates avenues upon avenues for people to find new ways to connect and to express themselves, and this is just like, amongst some of the most elegant forms of expression. Art being the operative word. I can't even fathom what Grandmaster Francisco Mansour would be able to teach me.
Man.
I can't even matter if the whole class is on nothing but a triangle. It can be nothing but a triangle, but I'm sure that he's going to say something, or he's going to show me something, or he's going to do something that I see, and I'm like, wait, that right there. And maybe I'm not even, begin the traceability of the technique, or even where he learned it from.
Mm-hmm.
But just to see the antiquity of how his technique through all of these years teaching and practicing jiu-jitsu up until this moment, and I get to get at least a sliver of insight. Man.
It's you get a tingling feeling just thinking about the possibilities of what you can learn for someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like when even like still when I was in my blue belt, I took a private with Master Joe, and I was like, okay, I just want to work, escapes from bottom. We worked snakes. Cause like he was like he said, well, so what you want to go over? I was like, just stuff from bottom, escapes and stuff like that, and yada yada yada. So the whole entire hour was talking about crossover snake. No, I'm sorry, circle snake.
Okay.
And I'm like, like first I was thinking like, okay, well I know this technique and yada yada yada, but for him to be able to break it down an whole entire hour with this one technique, and like the limited, like unlimited possibilities just from learning how to control your body, learn how to move a certain way. Like, okay, yeah, this is the basis of this technique, but you might have to change it up depending on the body size, depending on where your opponent's knees are, depending on where their weight is, and all this other stuff. But it boils right back down to the basic of, you know, the main structure of this technique. And just, you know, just I can go back and watch it today and still be in awe. Like, I can't believe that stuff.
Right.
And that's why, like, you know, when we work techniques, or I'm able to like sit down and like, hey Ray, you know that thing we just worked, try this.
Those are my favorite parts of class.
I look forward to those, man, because I'm like, I know he's gonna learn this. I know he's gonna appreciate the nuance of it, and he's just gonna like it's just gonna be so shock and awe. It's like, hey Ray, when you're going for that, shift your weight this way, put your leg up this way, or snake out this way, and you're like, okay, and then you do it. It's like, oh snap, son! Like,
yes, exactly.
Like, yes.
My wonder and amazement is all I feel when it comes to learning jiu-jitsu, because I'm finding new ways to move and use my body. What I've had throughout my entire life, but I'm learning some unique. Just the snakes. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't snake to move, but like that's becoming like second nature to us. Like, to move in snakes is to move for your survival.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And right now, just thinking about what Master Joe said about how you asked about bottom escapes, and he said, okay, snakes. That was like, to me, that sounds like, okay, I need techniques, but he's like, nah. Let me give you concepts.
Yeah.
Let me give you the ideas, and then start to form your sentences, or start to form your own ideas based off of these concepts.
Yeah.
And I think right now, all I'm thinking about, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, maybe for like maybe a month, that side control 3 circle snake escape. I I've been able to get my mind off that. I cannot wait to rep that.
Yeah, and what's funny about that is that same scenario that I was just talking about. I had that with one of our white belts, Mark. He was like, hey, dude, you know, are you teaching privates? I was like, yeah, we can work something out. And his first class, he says, I'm like, you know, what you want to work on? He's like, yeah, man, I want to go over some bottom escapes. I want to go over this, and that. He's like, you know, he's listing off so many stuff from like bottom. No, he's like, no, I want to go over some snakes, and I want to go over escapes from bottom. And I'm like, dang, how can I break that down for a whole hour? Because I want him to get as much knowledge as he possibly can. But it sounds like a little small little piece of jiu-jitsu. But I was like, wait a minute. I can just show him how to properly use snakes.
Right.
Those are escapes from bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And we spent the whole hour just going over principles and going over snakes, or shrimping, what, you know, some other schools call it. And it's such a, I'm not going to say it's an overlooked thing, because you will hear it a lot. We'll say, hey, use your snakes. Use this, use that. But it's like, when you tell other people that, like, man, I want to learn how to do a triangle from here. You gotta learn how to move.
Yeah.
You gotta learn how to position your body. You gotta learn how to do this. Like, I can teach you a technique. I can teach you how to do a triangle. I can teach you how to do an arm bar. But if you don't have that foundation down on, you know, learning how to move your body to a certain position, you would never get it. Because, like, yeah, I can teach you this, but what if a person has wider shoulders?
Exactly.
What if he's a little bit more stocky? What if he's a lot stronger? What if he's a lot skinnier? What if he's a lot smaller? All that stuff resorts back to where your bases are.
Exactly.
Because if you don't have that, you don't have. I was gonna say 90, but you don't have none of the techniques, because you have to be able to do so. You have to be able to move. You have to be able to position yourself. You have to be able to control everything around you.
Yeah. And I think with what initially intimidated me, but what also made jiu-jitsu a lot easier, was to see that we had a system with rules, and we have a certain number of snakes. We have a certain number of bases that we got lines like just all these different pieces of the system that can be qualitatively, expressed. Like, yeah, we could write the rules down, but no, I think for at least for me going back to my journey, like that first year of white belt, I think there hit a point where I was just like, no, I think I just need to come in and just do every single snake before class starts.
Yeah.
I just need to get overly familiar with these rules, because 10 times out of 9, whether it's my roles, whether it's repping during class, if I'm not understanding something, if I'm not hitting something, or just really grasping at a concept, if I can't get it right, 10 times out of 9, it's because I'm not following a rule.
Yeah, you're not following it. Yeah, you're not following your foundation.
Yeah, and when I was able to do that, it at the very least, my game is not perfect, but it at the very least allowed me to make a little less mistakes, but it allowed me to see what I needed to do better. Because it was like, okay, well, why is this not working? Okay, why am I not cutting this angle? Oh, because my knees ain't tight. I can't keep this position because my knees aren't tight. I can't keep this because I'm favoring one side more than the other. I keep getting swept here because this is where all my weight is.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going back. It's just like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Rule. Okay, let's fix that.
Yeah.
So that just that first year focusing on snakes, rules, and movements, and understanding concepts instead of trying to get married to techniques helped exponentially for me.
Yeah, and that's why I love our system so much, because we don't have to we don't have to spend hours breaking down something that you're not getting right. It's like, man, I'm going for this technique or this submission, and I just can't figure out why can I get it. Snake out.
Right.
Oh. Damn, that was it? Yeah.
Yep.
Like, yeah. Like, man, I keep getting stuck in this, blah blah blah. Snake out. Shift your weight over. Get your head out. Use your lines of defense. It's like once you grasp that, everything else falls into play.
Yep.
Everything else falls into play. Like, okay, now I notice if I'm I'm trying to do a submission, or I'm trying to, get my lines back in, but like, dang, what's going on? Because you're flat on your back. Get to your side.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's why we have a kickstand. That's why we position our legs a certain way. And that's the thing that I love to break down when teaching people snakes, is that kickstand, like that back leg. Like, yeah, it's your base to keep, to be able to use your hands enough to be able to, like, okay, I got my hands out, I'm keeping myself protected, this leg is keeping me from, being flat on my back. Now I have room to move and I can go. You can't do that flat on your back. You have to get to your side. You have to be in a certain position and everything else before, jiu-jitsu can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely important, man. Definitely important. But going back to what you said earlier, and it's crazy. A couple other people said it too. Like, I honestly do believe jiu-jitsu is for everyone.
Everybody.
Correction. It can be for everyone.
Yep.
If you take the time out to study it and not be intimidated because you're seeing people just, cannonballing all over, just rolling all over the mats and backflipping and all this other stuff. Like, do not feel intimidated when you see that stuff, because it's to their ability they can do that. But like I said, our grandmaster, who's in his 80s, still rolling.
Exactly.
So he like clean, and it's not like he's a type of dude. Like, no, he's still rolling clean.
Exactly.
You have, like I said, like Master Joe Moera. This is all he does. He's in his, 60s, 70s, I believe. Or I think he's in his 60s. But every single day on Instagram, he's traveling.
Every single day.
He's traveling. He's training. When I tell you he eats, breathe, and live jiu-jitsu,
yeah,
that's all he does.
That's a warrior right there.
Yeah, that is a warrior if I ever seen such. But just to think of, like, the amount of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, the amount of knowledge that this guy has, because he has affiliate schools all over the world.
Yeah.
Like every time he looks up, oh, I'm going to Greece, I'm going to Australia, I'm going to, I'm going to the US, I'm going to Canada, I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm going there, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
To not be tired of doing jujitsu. Like when you're traveling, you're teaching jujitsu. When you're home, you're studying and learning jujitsu.
When you're spending time with your family, sometimes you're doing jujitsu.
You're doing jujitsu. His son, who he's gonna be a guest on on a future episode. His son, same thing. Just eats, live, and breathe jujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what a life to have, right?
And to not and it's to want is a state of mind, and to happy, of course, a state of mind. So we can all put in for a garage, bath some mats, live in that thing, and be happy for the rest of our like. Ideally, if that's what happiness looked like, and to know that we are that close to it, to know that we are doing jujitsu as often as we can. You have access. You personally have access to the gym. You're teaching. You're working there. Like to like this. All you doing is living more and more of your dream every day. Like the more that we get to do jujitsu is like I'll never get tired of that blessing.
Man, I'm telling you. Like I am like forever grateful for the opportunity to be able to learn jujitsu where I'm learning jujitsu and teaching where I'm teaching at, and being able to study with the people that I study with, because I've been to, I've looked at other schools and it was like, they seem cool, but I don't know. I'm not feeling the energy here.
Right.
But yeah, as soon as I got to H2O, I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is nice. Yeah. Met awesome people. Just a thing, and another example. I would never imagine meeting Joe Moera if I didn't train where I trained at.
Right.
I met Chris Harder, and that's another guy who, like, if you ever get a chance to, like, if you can get him to the school, man, it's another guy that eats, live, and breathe jiu-jitsu, and the amounts of knowledge and wealth that this guy has with jiu-jitsu is astounding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, because I have a couple other guests that's black belts, and I'm so excited. So excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Jiu-jitsu is where it's at, man. Jiu-jitsu is where it's at.
Telling me nothing, man. I love it. So.
Yeah, man. But if there's, is there anything else you want to add? If you anything you want to ask me, or if you're got a tournament coming up or anything, man, the floor is still yours.
And I wish I had a tournament. I think right now I'm doing my best to, of course, pay attention to technique. And we was just talking. This is for everybody, no matter the body type. But it's definitely advantageous to be in shape. So I'm thinking if I do want to hit some tournaments next year, I'm doing my best to keep my body in shape right now, be in even better shape, lift some weight. So just being ready for them battles when they come,
Yeah.
Brother, I appreciate you having me, man. This is just such an honor and a privilege. I never would have thought I'd be here.
Oh no, man! I had to have you here, man. I had to have you here. Like, you're still early in your jiu-jitsu journey, but you have a vast amount of knowledge, more than you realize, to share. So that was like, yeah, I had to get him on here to explain it, because you're blue belt, so you're still only a couple years in, but there's still a lot of knowledge there. Definitely lots and lots of knowledge there. So I had to have you on here, man.
Good looks, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah. So, and that's the end of today's episode. I would like to thank Ray Martin again to come and share his experience with us. Please go and follow our Facebook and Instagram page to stay up to date on our future episodes. This has been the Talk Your Jits podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live jiu-jitsu. Have a great day.